all the taxes paid directly by the person is called as direct tax. Salary, house property, business or profession, capital gain and income from other source. These 5 we call it as direct tax. In the direct tax, whatever collected in the previous year, you have to calculate and pay the tax. To generate tax revenue, there are many policies are implemented. Based on that, they calculate tax. A warm welcome to one and all. This is your Adarsh sir, lecturing Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. We are discussing your unit number 1 under Goods and Service Tax. The unit is called as Basics of Taxation. Today we will not learn only about GST, we will learn about direct tax also, because we are concentrating on tax. We are not concentrating on indirect tax or direct tax. Your unit 1 says it is all about tax. What is direct tax and what is indirect tax? Because you will get 115 mark and 110 mark theory from this particular unit. So these are the agenda for today's session. The first we'll learn about the introduction part. The difference between direct and indirect tax. As I told you, there is a 100% compulsory question for your examination. As I told you, since last 4 to 5 years, I have not seen any question paper without this particular question. Features of Indian tax structure. What are the features means how the tax structure is made and what are its features. Then features of indirect tax. The tax structure in India is divided into direct and indirect. Already we will learn about direct and indirect tax. The same thing will be repeated. Then brief history of indirect taxes in India. This is all about your taxation and it is all about today's session. Along with this, we also learn what is excise duty, what is custom duty, and issues with the previous system. As I told you, from 2017, all the small taxes clubbed into, they made it as comprehensive tax, that is called GST. So, issues with the previous system. What was the issues? Why they made it GST? Why not it was sales tax, excise duty, VAT? Why they have replaced? The reason must be there. Yes, that reasons we will learn in this particular statement. Then Indian adapts the VAT model, and VAT, as you know, that value added tax. As the value is added, the tax is also simultaneously added to that particular thing. Then introduction to GST and journey of GST. So first unit you cannot neglect. Why? Because I'll tell you the reason. You may feel that, sir, I'll go with practical, I'll do the problems, I'll score 60 out of 60. It is impossible in indirect tax. The reason is very simple. For 15 marks problem, they will give you like this. So they will give you like issues with previous system, 5 marks. One practical problem on ITC, 10 marks. The total is 15. If you want to attend this 10 marks, you should attend this 5 marks also. Hope you are clear. The problem with taxation or tax question papers are like this only. Because all the other topics you can go with only practical and you can get 100 out of 100. But there is the only paper you cannot score 100 unless and until you are thorough with theory. By learning all the theory, you can score 100. But leaving theory, it is impossible to score 100. So first part will go with introduction. Don't go in depth actually. Why? Because for your examination point of view, which are important, which are the points you are supposed to remember, those things only I'll highlight. Now, in a welfare state, the government takes primary responsibility for the welfare of its citizen. So whatever GST comes, no, it is done in the favor of whom? The assessee. Assessee means what? The person who liables to pay tax, who are called as assessee. As matters of healthcare, education, employment, infrastructure, social security, and other development, the facility this government needs revenue. For example, you have seen, I think, so many government colleges are there, government hospitals are there, police stations, electricity, all the government institution, your municipality office, all comes under, they do free of service to the public citizen. But how the payment is made to them? Yes, if you go to government hospital and private hospital, the same private hospital, they may charge you 1 lakh. The same work can be done in government hospital for 10,000. The reason is what? Whatever the tax collected from the people, they are giving services like this. Hope you are clear. Now, the taxation is a primary sources of revenue to the government. So you may find Bangalore-Mysuru highway road. Have you paid single rupee for that? No. But indirectly you have paid. You bought a soap, you paid tax. You bought toothpaste, brush, you pay tax. You bought a mobile, you pay tax. You bought a car, you pay road tax. Yes, and when you're going on that way, you will pay the toll fees. Indirectly, you're paying for that infrastructure. Night time, when you're walking in the park maintenance, the street light, everything, you're not paying the electricity bill for street light. You may wonder, sir, how there all the roads have street light? The reason is very simple. Your parents are paying tax indirectly as well as directly, because government have the only revenue to all this infrastructure only with the help of collection of tax. Now, in other words, government is taking taxes from public through its one hand and through another hand. Through one hand means if you are collecting directly, it is through one hand. If you are collecting indirectly, that is called as through other's hand. It incurs welfare expenditure for public at large. Hope you are clear with this particular concept. Introduction part. So this is all about no one enjoys handing over his hard-earned money to the government to pay taxes. Usually we feel sad that, sir, we earn 1 lakh and in that we are paying 10 to 15,000 as tax. So what is the use? And in that 1 lakh also, indirectly you are paying another 5 to 10,000 as tax. So almost 20% of your income you are paying to the government. You may feel sad, but whatever facilities we are getting from government, all because of the amount you paid from your income. Taxes are compulsory or enforced contribution to the government revenue by public. As I told you, you cannot escape from tax. If you escape from tax this year or next year, to 1 or 2 years you may escape, but finally you will be caught and you have to pay more than what you are supposed to pay with a penalty. Government may levy taxes on income, business, profit or wealth or ad. See, on wealth means the property. You have a house, you have to pay the property tax. You have a car, you have to pay tax on that, road tax, insurance. On insurance, now they have exempted taxes on few insurances, but indirectly you are paying tax for everything. If you buy a laptop, you will pay tax. If you buy a mobile, you will pay tax. If you buy a small chocolate dairy milk of 10 rupee, you are paying around 80 paise or 70 paise of tax. Now, direct tax and indirect tax. As I told you, in this particular unit, the most important topic you have to learn and you must learn, that is called what is direct tax and what is indirect tax. And along with this, you should learn the difference between direct tax and indirect tax. Now, there are two types of taxes. One is direct tax, other one is indirect tax. Tax of which incidence and impact fall on same person is known as direct tax. Already I explained you while doing the introduction class what is direct tax. As I told you, all the taxes paid directly by the person is called as direct tax. Assume, as I told you, income from salary, income from house property, income from business or profession, income from capital gain, and income from other source. These income are called as direct tax. Hope you are clear. Directly you are paying on the income you earned. Next, on the other hand, tax on which incidence and impact fall on two different person is known as indirect tax. Two different person means, as I told you, if you go and buy a car where you will buy, you will go to that particular showroom. Yes, you will pay. What is the car value? Assume that the car price is 10 lakh, the insurance will be 2 lakh, road tax will be 2 lakhs, luxury tax will be 1 lakh. It comes around 15 lakh will be your car price. Clear? You may feel shocked actually, because the car price is not, almost half of the car price you are paying to the government. And insurance is for your safety only, but along with the road tax, luxury tax, everything comes along with your car price. That's why any vehicle, if you go and buy, there are two prices are there: ex showroom price, on road price. What is ex showroom price? Excluding all the tax and everything. On road price means it is including tax, insurance, everything. Clear? So in this 10 lakh, tax is not included. If you see in depth, in this also tax included. Why? Because the seat cover on that company has paid tax. On the steering, plastic, the tire, rubber, metal, everything they bought from the some shop. For them, they have paid tax. Hope you are clear. All the electronic item, music item, everything they have paid indirectly. Hope you are clear. Now, so in this 15 lakh, more than 5 lakh, you are paying tax. That is called your. On the other hand, tax of which incidence and impact fall on two different person. You are paying to whom? You are paying to the showroom. Showroom will pay tax to whom? Government. On behalf of you, the showroom person will pay the tax. Why showroom person will pay? You are buying only one car. Like that, for him, 100 customers are there. Government cannot come to single person. Government go to showroom and government asks that showroom, how many customers bought vehicle from you? He will says that 100%. Okay, 100 into 5 lakh is how much? Come and pay. That is called indirect tax. Hope you are clear. On behalf of you, there are two hands are there. This person pays tax on behalf of you. Hope you are clear what is indirect tax. Then, in case of direct tax, it is recovered directly from the assessee who ultimately pays such tax. We will learn more about difference between direct and indirect in the next slide. Now, as I told you, your 15 or 10 marks, 100% pakka question will be this one. Difference between direct as well as indirect tax. Now, so direct tax and indirect tax. Indirect tax, always remember, GST we call it as direct tax, and direct tax, remember the 5 heads: salary, house property, business or profession, capital gain, and income from other source. These 5 we call it as direct tax. Now, payer of tax and sufferer of tax, 1. See, I am only paying the tax, I am only suffering that. Okay, but payer of tax, not sufferer of tax, whereas sufferer of tax is not paying directly to the government. See, as I told you, I am buying a car, I am paying to the showroom, I am not paying to the government. Showroom person will pay to the government. That is the reason the payer sufferer here it differs. Even I am only suffering, but not directly, I am suffering indirectly. And the second one, income based tax. How much income you earn, you pay tax. Second one, supply based taxes. How many cars are supplied, are sold, on that they pay tax. 2 things. Third one, rate of taxes are different from person to person. See, my salary is below 2,50,000 per annum. I no need to pay tax. Your salary is 5 lakh per annum. No need to pay tax. Another person's salary is 8 lakh per annum. He has to pay tax. Another person's salary is 30 lakh per annum. He has to pay more tax. Depends on your income. The tax rate, tax calculation differs based on your income. But rate of duties are not differ from person to person. If I go to hotel, I will also pay 9%, you will also pay 9%. If I go to some shop, that person also pay 18%, I am also pay 18%. If Ambani goes also, he will pay 18% tax because there is no differentiation between people or person. If a 3 years small kid go and buy from the shop, that kid also will pay the same tax what I paid. That is called indirect tax. Next, entire revenue goes to central government of India. Whatever the calculation is done, everything goes to whom? Central government. But whatever it gets, central and state distribute. Assume that in Karnataka you bought one car, means they have collected 5 lakh tax, means 2,50,000 to Karnataka and 2,50,000 to central government, because for main central government for the improvement and infrastructure we should contribute half of the revenue what Karnataka is collected. Previous year income assessed in the assessment year. Usually the direct tax is calculated on last year. That is the reason we call it as financial year, assessment year, current year, assessment year. So, but in this there is no previous year and assessment year concept. Like now you are buying a car, means on that moment only you have to pay the tax. Now you are buying mobile, that moment only you have to pay the tax. So on the same day, same year. Now, Central Board of Direct Taxes, CBDT, this is also your 2-mark question for abbreviation, is an important part of department revenue, but in this Central Board of Excise and Custom is an important part of Department of Revenue from 2019, and we have CBIC also, that is Indirect Tax and Customs. You have to remember these points because these are important. As I told you, point by point you have to memorize. Then progressive in nature, that is higher tax, but progressive in nature, all persons will bear equal worth of tax on goods and service. Next one, cannot be shifted, can be shifted. See, it can be shifted to one person to another person, but it can be shifted to one person to another person. This cannot be. Like your income, you should only pay the tax. But here, who is buying, that person will pay the tax. Hope you are clear? Yes. Direct taxes have many exemptions and involve higher administrative cost. But indirect taxes, less administration cost. The rates are different. Many rates are there. But administration cost is less. Why? Because simple to calculate and simple to file the return. It is compared to indirect tax, this is bit complicated because it differs from person to person, so that based on that person net worth, the calculation has to happen. Now, so we have learned about the complete direct and indirect tax differentiation. Now we will talk about the features of the Indian tax structure. Compared to the previous one, this is not much important, but for the safer side, better to remember few points in this particular topic. Now, the first feature of indirect tax structure is the multiplicity of tax structure. It is not a single one. As I told you, you have excise duty and you have a VAT, you have service and you have entry tax. All the taxes made a comprehensive tax called GST. Now, the second feature of the Indian tax structure is that indirect taxes hold large share in our Indian tax structure. So there is a second feature because indirect tax collects more tax and more revenue. And the third one, the third feature is insufficient tax revenue. The indirect is which collects insufficient compared to your direct tax. The collection of tax portion will be less compared to your direct. And the fourth one feature is the incidence of taxation. So what is incidence of taxation? Like in the direct tax, whatever collected in the previous year, you have to calculate and pay the tax. But in case of indirect tax, it is incidence. The time you buy, the time you purchase, you're supposed to pay tax on that. That is called as incidence of taxation. The fifth feature of Indian tax structure is progressiveness. Every year the tax rate increases and every year the revenue of government always increases. The next one, sixth feature, tax base is very narrow in India, both direct and indirect. And the last one, the Indian tax structure is a complexity. Complexity means for taxation, we need two things. One is administration cost as well as the rates. The rates are very complex. Why? Because in indirect tax, we have rates called 0%, 4%, 12%, 18%, 28%. There are different tax rates are there. That is the reason that direct as well as indirect taxation, we always call it as complex, difficult to calculate. The next features are indirect taxation is policy often used to generate tax revenue. To generate tax revenue, there are many policies are implemented. Based on that, they calculate tax. And the next one, it is levied on goods at the time of supply or import or export thereof. So we have a custom duty. Custom duty is all about what? Indirect taxation. Yes, it is a part of GST. Yes, the custom duty is calculated based on import as well as export. Then it is also known as commodity taxation. The tax is calculated on goods and services, so we call it as commodity taxation. Indirect taxes are regressive in nature. The major assets are the corporate entities and services. Indirect taxes are very easy to collect and it is helpful in promoting social welfare. What is social welfare? For social causes, whatever the government collects the revenue, that can be utilized. Then, tax imposed on goods and services causes increases in price of goods and services. Obviously, the 100 rupees, as I gave you the example, the car price we pay 15 lakh. In that 15 lakh, 10 lakh will be your car price. The remaining 5 will be all kinds of taxes, insurance are added. If you want to go and buy the car, you cannot get it for 10 lakhs. You have to pay 15 lakh. That is the way I told you, the ex-showroom and on-road price. The on-road price is always higher than ex-showroom price because it is inclusive of taxes. The tax structure in India is divided into direct and indirect. When you learn the difference between direct and indirect tax, this is not much important, but for your reference, you can read it once. So these are the tax structure actually. Some minor taxes are also levied by the local authority, such as municipality and the local government. So for everything you have to pay tax. If you pay electricity bill, at the end you will find tax portion will be there. If you go to hotel and take one single idli, on that you have to pay tax. Each and everything you have to pay tax. There is a reason in indirect tax, a minor tax is also levied on particular taxes. So these are the tax structure in India is divided into direct and indirect tax, like major central taxes, income tax, central goods and service tax, custom duty, integrated goods and service tax. This we call it as IGST. While doing the problems, I'll explain you what is CGST, what is SGST, what is IGST, on what we calculate IGST, on what we calculate CGST, on what you calculate SGST. And major state taxes are state goods and service and stamp duty registration. So indirect taxation, the brief history, as I told you, the maximum 2 marks you can expect actually. So there is not much important compared to, as I told you, the only important question is the features of tax, as well as the second one is difference between direct and indirect tax. In India, direct taxes were first introduced in 1944 to protect British-made goods in the domestic market. So in 1944, at the period of British, that time only your taxes is introduced. Then After Indian independence, the government introduced some new indirect taxes. Many of these taxes have been replaced with GST. As I told you, from 2017, many taxes are replaced. They made a comprehensive tax that is called GST. And introduction of excise duty. Excise duty now it is treated as GST. And so these are the introduction part. As I told you, these are not much important, but for your reference, you can just make a screenshot and you can read. So it is all about excise duty. As I told you, you have to read once, one time read of these topics. Introduction about custom duty. Custom duty, it is all about your import and export. Any goods you import from other country or any goods you export to other country, the tax comes, that is custom duty. And your GST, in this we are not studying custom duty, only for your reference, for your information, you can just have a one-time read of custom duty. Just you can make a screenshot of this and you can study. This is also all about custom duty. When you manufacture, you have to pay tax if you want to export or import. Issues with previous system. So we know that from 2017, GST has introduced. What is the reason to introduce GST? The reason is very simple. Stop to take into account two important concepts, like please remember that tax on tax, that is additional of taxes at every stage, is called cascading. Like already you paid tax on the same goods, same price, again you are paying tax. You are paying two times to the government. To avoid that, when you make a double payment, that is called as cascading, making payment twice on the same product on the same price. To avoid that, they made this GST. Second one, with that mind, let us discuss the main issues with the previous system. The most crucial disadvantage was created cascading. As I explained to you, cascading means what? Paying tax on the same goods twice. And the second point, tax rates were formulated depending on the revenue the government needed, which led to a situation where even some luxury goods could be tax free. See, there are two types of car. You can go with a Maruti Alto also. Same thing you can go with BMW or Audi or any other luxury vehicles also. Mercedes, like the BMW, Mercedes and Audi all comes under luxury vehicle, and the same tax for BMW also, same tax for Alto also. The revenue for government was less. That is the reason they have decided GST. If comes under luxury, the tax portion will be more. If comes under economical or normal, moderate, the medium scale people can buy vehicle, means that tax rate will be different. That is a major part to convert GST, normal tax into GST. Business could not claim tax relief on credit. So many people, they have paid excess tax and they cannot claim that. So in this, we have a concept called input tax credit. You can claim the excess tax paid. And additional adapts the VAT model. In addition, VAT means what? Value added tax. Still, the countries like Dubai, like United Arab Emirates, that country is using VAT. So that value added tax, there is no direct tax in our UAE, and they are charging tax called indirect tax, that is VAT. Indian adopts the VAT model. These are only for your understanding purpose, not much important for your examination. So it is all about introduction about taxation. See, there are more than 17 taxes are replaced with GST, and your GST is introduced on July 1st, 2017. So this is all about GST, like octroi, VAT, purchase tax. It is all about transportation, luxury tax, and excise duty, central sales tax, service tax. Everything is merged and they made a single tax called GST. And these three are not replaced. These three are merged with GST. So this GST actually, all your luxury tax, octroi, purchase tax, excise duty, custom, and your service tax, central sales, VAT, tax on lottery. This is always highest rate actually. Tax on lottery, entertainment tax, all comes merged into state tax, merged into GST, central tax merged into GST. Hope you are clear. These are must readable topic. Why? Because as I told you, it covers major of your question paper. If you see your question paper, whatever we discussed today, those things only you will find. So these are journey of GST. From 2000 it is started, 2003, 2006, 8. Because as we know that 2017 the GST was introduced, but the idea about GST started from 2000, 2003, 6, 2008, 2009, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16. All this, they made a Rajya Sabha clears the GST bill, Lok Sabha clears the GST bill. Every year they were approaching for GST. Why? Because once they introduce means they cannot come back from that. That's why they wanted a strong tax structure. So this is all about GST. I hope that you got more knowledge about GST now by learning your unit number 1. This is all about unit number 1. It is all about theory. As I told you, you cannot skip or you cannot neglect theory. The reason is your major question paper covers with this particular topic. The next session will come with your unit number 2 and some practical problems we can find in that. Thank you.